Welcome back to the show. Today's topic: don't follow dating coaches, or for that matter, relationship coaches or betterment, self betterment coaches. And here's why. So I'm not trying to throw shade or be confrontational in having this discussion, um, but I definitely want to shed more of a spotlight in the way we're receiving these messages. This is not to have a debate on where you stand, on who you like more or who you dislike more, on what message is correct or incorrect. Like, there's enough of that already being had, and I think if it'll defeat the message because that I'm trying to come across, because I don't want it to come off as saying like I'm picking on one and not the other, or if I have like favorites or some kind of behind the scenes kind of motive, um, which I don't, and I don't want to go down that avenue. The avenue I want to go down is not, and before I go down even the avenue that I want to take it on, it's that I understand the reason and the why they exist, what the benefits are to some of the stuff that is being broadcasted or spread around in the internet, right? And I believe in freedom of speech, and everyone should say whatever the hell they want, and people will then choose what they gravitate to, and the market dictates. But so I don't even want to hold them accountable to the extent. Of course, there's some rhetoric that is borderline too much, but that is not this discussion. I don't even really want to focus on the content that they put out, because they are more than entitled and within their rights, as long as they're not violating whatever platform they're using to spread that message. And again, the politics surrounding that I don't want to get into, but it is the creators, content, so they could put out whatever message they they want to put out, right? So again, within boundaries, you can't really hold them responsible for the broader part of it. Again, within boundaries, because there's definitely some influence, as the name calls it, influencers, especially on in the YouTube sphere. Without going into that smaller, not percentage, but just the smaller argument as to the rarity as opposed to the what's the norm. They're just spreading their mind. They're just letting us into how they think, and if it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, or you agree with it, and you become a supporter, hey, it's just what happens, right? And that's no different than religion. It's no different than when you're with some people and you start agreeing on X subject or whatever. So there's definitely not, I can't pace or place blame on, but what I do want to have the discussion, or the avenue that I want to go down, as I said a little bit ago, is having critical thinking, having a way to decipher the information, no matter where you're getting it from, because no matter where you're getting your information from, and in this for this podcast, like I said, dating and relationship and self betterment coaches, because you could go from each spectrum, right? From the spectrum where you totally agree to the spectrum where you totally disagree, and then you have all this stuff bundled up in the middle. We tend to not, or at least we're not lately, we're not really deciphering. We're just kind of having this, this kind of, I don't want to say hero worship, because no one's, no one's like, I don't think they're being looked at as heroes, even though small minority might see these, guys and gals as, but in that spectrum, when once you go down that avenue of self-help, self-betterment because of a breakup, a heartache, or your life turned upside down through whatever circumstances, once you go down this avenue, you're wounded. You're a wounded animal seeking some kind of safety to heal, and that's natural when a creature is hurt, and when we're heartbroken, sad, depressed, or something, divorce or whatever it is. We end up, we lose our job or we get some kind of horrible news. We then tend to, again, find some comfort, find some place that we could lay low for a while and just kind of, like I've said in prior podcasts, these echo chambers that do serve a purpose to kind of help us heal, right? To, like I said, a place that we could go and kind of go through the motions, get some of that anger out, get some of that frustration out. Before the internet, it was, our friends, activities, stuff that will just kind of take our mind off of it. Some jumped into another relationship, some focused on inner work, and you hear the message a lot now on the internet, but few are just taking, few are actually implying or implementing that kind of mentality, habit forming, or, some kind of productive way to transfer these energies. And due to recently now this is in the next month, due to the pandemic, some of these voices have become, louder and louder and louder as people have more and more time to, watch more videos, watch more videos, and they'll come up upon some of this, dating. Oh, you know what? It popped up in my feed because I, how to keep my man happy, or how to keep my woman happy, or how to keep, the spice alive or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it gets populated, and then boom, you find something, you go down that rabbit hole, and you get lost in it. So again, I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do, to go down and sit with people in a healthy way that agree with you. That's when, fuck her, she was gonna do you, dirty anyways. Oh, we didn't like her for you. Oh, they'll start bagging on her. Your friends will start kind of dissing her, just to kind of lift you up, to kind of gas you up, as they say now, for you to go. So, but now with the internet, you have a lot of people, hurt people, healthy people, people in transition, have a voice on platforms, and are now spreading their message again. Whether you agree with them or not, it's irrelevant. But the spectrum of the messages that are being broadcasted is, again, it's from the full spectrum. So when I say don't follow dating coaches, relationship coaches, or self-betterment coaches, by don't follow is don't emulate them. Don't think that, oh, they're infallible. Don't think that what they're saying is 100% true. It might be 100% true for them. But like I've been saying, you are such an individual that no matter if you followed the advice of all the successful people on earth, your path is going to be different. You might have an addiction, you might have a fear, you might have a phobia, you might have a this, you might have a that. So your life is such a unique, and again, not to sit there and be like, oh, he's preaching the snowflake or whatever, like you're such a unique snowflake, you need to cater. No, I'm not trying to cater or soft blow anything. What I'm trying to get across is that when you receive these message, no matter how perfect you follow it, you're never going to achieve the same exact thing. Same thing with, like, bodybuilding. You could follow someone's diet, you could follow someone's, workout routine, but your muscle will develop different. No matter how many times you go every day, you eat the same food, you do the same things. no matter what, you're just so unique. You're so different from. And then if five people sat there and did that same diet and did the same workout routine, we had cameras on them and they ate the same, they did the same, everything the same, they would be, don't get me wrong, it will be close, and that's the end of it. What I'll get to, they'll be close within a range of themselves, like, but the development in each one is gonna be different. You'll notice vastly different, sizes. Maybe their chest developed different. Maybe their muscle structure is more on their shoulders than it is on their chest. Maybe they're wider in the hips, and some might be, have their legs might have developed crazy quicker because of whatever genetics that they have. But the point being is, towards the end, the completion of is you want to. But before I get there, I always get ahead of myself. But so no matter what you do, you're never going to hit it perfectly. But a lot of people hearing these message, which is the purpose of this, the topic, is they follow them like if 100%, like, oh, I did what he told me to do, whatever it is, whether, I don't want to point to one, whatever coach, whatever, who you follow, whoever you read, whatever book, whatever guru you follow, you hear it all the time. You see it in the comments, you see it on reviews, you see it everywhere. Oh, you know what? I did this and that, and it didn't work for me. And I told, this girl this, and it didn't work for me. Of course it didn't. They're giving you their experience, and they get off. That's how they get off the blame, train, I guess, if you want to say, because at the end of the day, it's their swagger. It's what they did. It's where they, what path did they do to develop the X that they have, the gravitas that they have, if it's not lies or BS. No matter, and I'm not calling anyone lies or BS. I'm saying that it took them, their individual struggle, just like putting yourself on behind a mic or in a camera. Not everyone could do it. A lot of people say they can, and I've told people that several people, because I could, having the courage to just not give your opinion, because anybody can give your opinion. People give that shit all the time. But to put on a microphone live and then start saying your opinion on that, and then broadcasting for people to digest it, for people to criticize it, whether they agree, that takes a whole different kind of mood, as they said, or attitude, as you will. So it's not something that comes easy. So a lot of these coaches, again, not bashing anyone, is it's their experience, and you're gonna have your own. Now, just like investment gurus, just like the Tony Robinsons of the world, where they're actually proven to, self-help or help people turn their life around, not everyone that's just popping up, like legit, like betterment gurus, stuff like that. They tell you, and they say it for a reason. Dude, if someone is successful, follow them. They're gonna not follow them, but they're gonna leave trails, right? So you want to emulate. You want to not emulate, but you want to follow that path. You're never gonna reach that same path, because that path was only done once. Eventually, those footprints, because he flew. At some point, yeah, you're going down a path, but that dude flew, bro. So once that dude flew, there is no more footprints. Then it's up to you to grab the knowledge up to that dude when he flew and make your own shit with whatever it is that you're doing, right? So that's when they say, hey, even if let's just keep it with the working out analogy. So if I have Arnold Schwarzenegger as my or Ronnie Coleman or whatever, or one of these, great fitness people, bodies that we've had and even currently have on whatever it is. But let's say I have this vision, or Ulysses, that guy that's on the Instagram or whatever. Let's say one of these guys is just huge, and that's my goal. What they're saying is that have that as your goal. Look at what they did, the diets, the exercise, how they achieved their dedication, their love to lift, what steps that they did. And you're gonna fail. You're not gonna reach that whatever he did. But you're going to end up somewhere way better. than where you started off. And I completely agree with whatever message you're going to hear, online, about breakups, about relationships, about, self betterment, about, dealing with, women and how to invest your, whatever it is. But you follow it only up to a certain point. And when you do, it's going to leave you in in a better state. But the point being is that you have to filter it. It's the same thing. If you take away the internet, it would be the what if your uncle, let's say your uncle, forget the internet. We're back in the 80s. No one has freaking internet except the government. So you would have, who did we get our information from? Who did we get our advice from? Who did we get our life lessons from? Some of us some people were lucky enough to have a dad, a father figure in their life. Some people had uncles, some people had grandparents, some people had the homies, the block to teach us whatever, no matter what. But you knew when you saw the fruits of the labor. And I'm not talking about receipts, because that argument is like, oh, they should show receipts. I'm not even advocating for that. The point being is that or the point that I'm making is that when I heard Uncle, whatever, tell me about how to pick up women, but yet I saw him I knew that he had 3 ex-wives, or that he had a drinking problem. He might have one gem out of the 10 discussions that we have. I'm not saying don't listen to him. It might be a funny story. It might be something that, I could kind of agree. And he might throw a gem, one gem every now and then, but I'm not fully going to model my life over him. But does it negate that one gem that did come out? Was it worth listening to him for that one piece of diamond? Of course it was. That little piece of diamond can be the difference between complete success or complete failure and misery. So that's why I even say, go ahead and listen to whoever you want to, whatever advice you want to, but filter it. The same way, when grandpa or when someone back in the day would tell you like, hey, yo, don't be this kind of a dude. Don't do this. Don't be disrespecting women. Don't do, and you saw that this guy had a relationship that was top notch, something that you were like, man, I want to get that car. I want to have a wife like that. I want to have a life like that. All of a sudden it becomes like that mentorship, right? You're like, yeah, that's a good thing that I'm going to follow. And again, I'm not saying that in, bringing it back to modern times, that all these dating and relationship coaches should be showing receipts or should be, having some kind of tally, because they're saying, hey, I'm here to help you better your life. But they're just broadcasting it, which is their right. They're just spreading the message. They don't have to put the receipts. They don't have to put how many successful out of how many, this and that. That's not their job. And I'm pretty sure they could probably get in trouble if they started claiming that. So what they're hiding under the guise of, oh, we're letting guys know, or we're letting, up on date. And even me, I even have a podcast where or an episode where I went over how to date and how to spend money on dates. And it's, so everyone that does that message hides behind that guise as like, oh, I'm just spreading a message and, for the betterment of men. And that, again, that's fine. But us as the listeners need to have our due diligence. The same way that I'm, telling everyone, or in these podcasts about having boundaries and having standards and filtering out women that come into your life, your friends, your acquaintances, filtering out family members and stuff like that. It's the same way. You still have to still do that, like in your every other day life, and who you're listening to as these, like saying, okay, I'm going to filter this information that I'm getting from X, channel. And now I'm going to listen to this channel, and I'm going to, but I'm going to filter it through my prism. Because again, you're individual. And that's what I want to get through men, is that you're our individual. Yeah, it's cool to gravitate to someone. It's cool to hear that message. But at the end of the day, you have to use a fucking filter, because it's not going to pan out the same. How he talks to a girl, you can't talk to a girl. How he deals with it, how he moves, you can't move the same. And you're not supposed to move the same. You're supposed to move like you. So yeah, get them, help them. Oh, you know what? I could do an upgrade in my style. So cool. Listen to a coach that is good on style, and if it fits, hey, gravitate and say, you know what? I like how he wears. He's talking about suits. Okay, I like suits, but I don't want to wear that all the time, and I want to do something a little bit less upscale. Okay, cool. Find someone, but you gravitate because that other coach, he might just be telling you, oh no, only true gentlemen wear a three-piece suit because we whatever, and that might work for him, but it might make you uncomfortable. It might make you uncomfortable enough to where you put off people making you uncomfortable because you're not comfortable in your own skin. I don't care if you're wrapped up in $10,000 garments and a $10,000 suit. If you're not comfortable in that, bro, like it doesn't matter. You're gonna be uncomfortable around everyone. So it has to be filtered through your prism. Now, some of us have fucked up prisms. That's a different issue we have to fix. We have to do the self work to make sure our prism is filtering out the correct, the correcting that's gonna correct our image, correct our behavior, correct our approach, correct the way we move. And that's a great thing, but you have to filter it. I don't care if it's your game, the way you are in bed, the way you are with friends, the way you save your money, the way you become better, the way you do whatever it is. Filter it out. And if it dings true to you, cool. Because trust me, if you follow them by the T, you're only going to get hurt. You're only going to set yourself up for disappointment. And I guarantee you, if you ask them all, hey, you know what? I heard that, this guy is saying that if I follow everything that you do, that I'm going to be disappointed. And I guarantee you, they'll say the same thing I am. Because again, you're so individualized. You're such a unique person. Your experience cannot be duplicated by anyone, by any computer, by anything. Again, I've said it before in a previous podcast. I don't care if you were twins, and there's been studies already where they put twins that grow up together. And again, there's only so much where you could keep two people at a certain, in a certain space. But even that, when you have two people and you could keep them in the same spot, one person's gonna come out with a positive experience, one with a negative, or one with a less negative than the other negative. You're never going to have the same experience, and that's what makes life beautiful. That's what makes this life worth living. That it's so random that when you look at people, they're looking at their life through so different. Even though we want to generalize it, we want to have that one, pill helps most. The one size, fits most kind of a thing to our lives, to our dating, to our happiness, to our finances. And unfortunately, that's not the way it works. Is there great general advice and stuff that could help you? Of course there is. Take that, but filter it to your life, to your individual life, where you are in your path, whether you're in your teens, in your 20s, 30s, 50s, 80s, 100, whatever it is, in what part it is, put it on that filter and see it if it's okay with you. Because that message might not, maybe you're too old for that message. Maybe you're too old for that style. Maybe you're too old. Maybe you need to revamp your thinking. Maybe you need to, maybe you're doing okay. Maybe you just have to kind of scale this back. But you can't follow someone else's plan. Doesn't work like that. I get everyone wants the blueprint, but there's no such thing as a blueprint. Go ahead, have mentors, follow mentors. Shit, I have mentors. And it's a great thing because you have something positive, something that you're emulating or taking. I keep on saying emulating. What I should take that word off. I'm trying not to say, but you're taking steps towards that kind of whatever it is in your life. My mentors are my mentors, your mentors are your mentors, and you're taking those steps to try to reach those levels. And it's great, have those, but understand that at the end of it, you're the driver of your ship. You can't put it like, hey, if I make this, because you're gonna end up get disappointed because maybe you didn't get that break. Maybe it wasn't your time. Maybe he had timing in his hand. Maybe this happened that just happened to hit it right. But if at the end of the day you could filter that and follow through the steps moving that, knowing that you're not going to get there, but you're striving to get somewhere up there. That's the correct way to do it, and filtering and saying, you know what, I like it, but I'm going to filter this through my prism. He did this, and I'm going to be that. I'm going to have that work ethic. I'm going to have that same determination. I'm going to have that same drive, but yet at the same time, adapting it to where you are in life, because that's where a lot of people, fall into that. Oh, he had breaks, he had this, or he had more opportunities than I did, or I just, I'm unlucky, I'm this and this and that, and this woe is me kind of attitude, and that's where it falls on. So again, I know the title was misleading as saying, hey, don't follow dating coaches, and I get it, but it's not like I hope it didn't come off like I was dissing on them, because that's not the point of the topic. It's to say that, yeah, hey, I don't care what you're listening to, put it on. Don't follow it blindly. Don't follow it where you're just saying 100%. If 100% he's correct, 100% he's right. Because again, I didn't want to hit too much on this point, because we've seen it and we're going to see it. No matter how many people you worship, how many people you look up to, how many people you say this person is perfect, hey, they're gonna fall. A lot of people thought Kobe was great until he had an infidelity. A lot of people thought, Michael Jordan was infallible until he found the gambling. A lot of people thought that, that preacher that, what is it, Heaven's Gate cult was amazing until he gave everybody poison and killed everybody. So, idols are meant to fall, and they're always going to fall, because again, they're fallible, they're human. So I didn't want to fall into that much. Oh, you know what, they might fail and they're not following what they preaching. For the most part, they, that's a topic for a different, discussion, whether they're living what they, if some of these coaches are actually living what they preach. And for the most part, they don't have to, but again, that's a subject for a different take. But if you follow someone so blindly, like you hear in this quote unquote manosphere, and then you find out something that doesn't, then all of a sudden your world gets shattered, your viewpoint gets shattered. And let's say you invested a year of this message, 2 years of this message. You broke, you tainted relationships. You ended relationships because of a message. You changed the way you lived your life because of a message. And all of a sudden that gets broken. That puts you in limbo. That puts you in a place of uncertainty. And then you're just grabbing for a message that you can cling to, and you just bounce from one to another, as opposed to just saying, hey, it's not about the messenger, it's the message. And if the message resonates with me and it can make me a better person, hey, cool. That's the healthy way to do it. But when you play someone like, hey, this is the be all and I'm going to emulate him 100%, again, don't take my word for it. You hit them up and ask them that question, and they'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. You're going to just set yourself for disappointment. So I hope you guys like the topic. I hope you guys enjoyed I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time.